Everyone, and welcome to tonight's Q&A call. It is August 10th, and my name is Christy McGuigan. I'm joining you from Wyoming with Steve Burns and Sam Caster. I wish they were in Wyoming with me. They are not. They're in their respective homes. And we are excited to have all of you joining us from all over the world as everybody was popping on and saying hi tonight. Tonight is everybody's favorite Q&A. You get to answer or ask those questions that you've been waiting to hear answers from. And so make sure to put those questions in the Q&A, not the chat. Still have fun in the chat. We love when you guys are commenting in the chat, responding to one another and sharing your excitement about the different products that Sam and Steve will be addressing as well too. So gentlemen, thank you. This is the first time that all three of us have been on the Q&A for a while. So glad to have you back, Steve, and have us all together. So let's jump right in. First question is, as Steve takes a drink of whatever it is he might be drinking, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later because I'm sure there was a tease in that if I know Steve. So first question is, does Limitless cross the blood-brain barrier to reduce inflammation in the brain?
Go, Steve.
No. That's right out of the gate. I'm going to let that go to you, sir.
I don't know the answer to that.
Legally, we cannot make that kind of a claim. There are components that are in that beetroot that will absolutely get across the blood-brain barrier to deliver nutrition. As far as working on the inflammatory process in the brain, it depends on what is causing brain inflammation. There are different chemicals. There are people that have a problem with chemical phenylalanine, for example. It is an amino acid that we need to have in our bodies as a building block. However, the chemical form, some people have the artificial sweetener version, etc., and it actually causes their brain to physically swell and press against the inside of their skull. They get migraines, they get headaches for days. It is not going to address that type of inflammation. It's going to address markers like interleukin-6, which can affect brain inflammation. However, there are different forms of brain inflammation. It's the spectrum of inflammation. There are many different causes to it. Sometimes it's not only one cause. Sometimes it's multifactorial, and there are different things that may be causing those issues. So will it cross to put nutrients in the blood-brain barrier? Yes, and there aren't too many things that do that. That blood-brain barrier is there to protect the brain, but the brain does need to be nourished. We need nutrients. We need things that help us produce neurotransmitters. But as far as the inflammatory process, it's less inclined to work on that level than it would on the individual biomarkers, including interleukin-6, which will help.
That's great. All right, and as we actually ask questions, just remember, guys, that these are questions not to make you as smart as Sam and Steve, because it's highly unlikely. But like Steve said earlier, in your field of expertise, absolutely. And also remember that as we hear the answer to these questions, yes, it can sometimes help with products for ourselves or for someone else, but we don't treat, cure, mitigate. And so you'll also see that Sam and Steve answer the questions very carefully. I might not ask them very carefully, but they will correct me when necessary and also help position. In fact, I want us to do that tonight, gentlemen, if we can, is any question that I ask, because I'm going to read them the way that they are. If you want to help to reposition them or reframe them, we can do that as well too. So thank you in advance.
One thing that, let me just expand a little bit. For those of you that were in Branson, you got to see Dr. Reg McDaniel, and one of Reg's favorite seminars to give is how the DNA transfers its message of a particular gene into RNA. And there's a checkpoint at that point that says, how do you achieve homeostasis, which is, just the optimal health environment. And that's where the gene will call out for, we're making too much of this cytokine or too little of that. We need a little more of this and a little more of that. And that's where all these nutrients come into play, is the cells then react to that blueprint that was transferred. And if there's too much inflammation and you've got the right molecules, it will actually use those to produce anti-inflammatory cytokines. So it's really interesting how the body uses nutrients that can modulate, the inflammatory responses of the immune system. But it was really an interesting presentation of how all that works. And be honest with you, I've never seen anybody do that presentation other than Reg. It's really a unique look at how our cells have checkpoints to determine how does this cell going to achieve, homeostasis, optimal health environment, and what molecules are going to be necessary to do that. And then the RNA has both messenger RNA as well as transport. And the transport RNA goes out and finds those molecules, either inside the cell or outside the cell, and brings them back. And that starts the process of making a glycoprotein that will do what the intelligence that is transferred onto that blueprint says is necessary, again, to bring that cell into optimal health. I don't know why I threw that in there. It just sounded interesting.
I love it. Perfect. That's why everybody tunes in, is for all the interesting. Okay, so next question. How does the EDGE formula help with body temperature regulation and sleep? I guess the question is, does it, and how does it?
Well, sure. If I may, Sam.
Yeah, please.
Hydration regulates both of those things. It's exactly what Sam was talking about. Homeostasis. When we are dehydrated, even by 1%, it starts affecting how our brain chemistry functions. It starts affecting how our body temperature regulation functions. And when we are properly hydrated, when our brain chemistry is able to work better, we're going to sleep better. When we're properly hydrated, we're able to regulate temperature better. Our body uses water to cool the body down and to warm the body up. Oddly enough, it does both things. It is a homeostasis process. So getting to that particular level, the formulation of EDGE has those 70 plus trace minerals in there. It's got the aquaporin or support from the ACE mannan that is in there, not present in other hydration drinks. And you'll see that really has a huge effect on both sleep and temperature regulation as things go. I was over in Spain and I was dealing with high temperatures there. In Arizona, we have high temperatures. It was 109, 111, something like that today. I was outside, not a big deal. I'm used to it. But there I had humidity. And I was struggling a little bit with the humidity factor of 50+% with that 102 degrees. And I'm telling you, within 20, 25 minutes of consuming an EDGE, I felt day and night difference. Day and night. I felt so much better, mentally so much clearer, and I really enjoyed having that product with me. I don't know what I would have done if it hadn't been there. I would have tried to hydrate some other way. Water by itself is really good for hydration. However, having that aquaporin regulation, having the proper mineral and essential electrolyte replacement is very important as well. So having those factors make that product very, very unique, very good for helping with those things.
Yeah, and for the new people, aquaporins are channels in your cells that regulate the flow of water in and out. And so when we think about hydration, a lot of times you say, well, I just drink water and I'm hydrated. No, that's just getting water in your gut. Hydration is how you get water into the cell. And so, and the minerals that Steve just talked about. So if you can regulate the channels that allow water in and out, again, for homeostasis, for optimal environment, functional environment. I mean, that is something, as Steve said, that no other hydration drink has ever done. And a Nobel Prize was awarded to the doctor that discovered aquaporins maybe 15 years ago. And once they realized that water flow could be actually regulated, and then they said, well, what regulates it? Well, it's immune cells that regulate aquaporins. The same immune cells that ACE mannan helps activate or optimize through the intervention of dietary intake. So, and Steve, I've heard stories too of people that wake up with a cramp in their leg and they'll run down real quick and take a drink, and all of a sudden the cramps go away in their legs or ankle or calves or whatever, bottoms of their feet. So it not only works, it seems to work instantaneously. I mean, that's really fun.
Yeah, so let me add to that. We'll play this thing, and Sam and I'll keep adding as we go and see what we can.
And I'm going to jump in at some point too.
Yeah. So what's interesting is working on this product, I found a form of the minerals that is red Irish algae. It's organic, and that is where we got the potassium and the magnesium from. Why is that important versus other forms? It's mined forms of those things our body can convert and utilize, but I've talked about this in lectures before. It takes specific cofactors to process those in that way. These are in a food matrix. Algae is a food. So our bodies recognize that food matrix and utilize it much faster than the process of taking in these mined minerals and converting them into what we need them to be. So that's why people are getting such fast results with this product.
And before you jump in, let me just say this. I read this years ago. A naturopath wrote it. He said, never eat anything a plant hasn't eaten first. And he was talking specifically about minerals, because plants take those rock that we use as mineral supplements, bring it up through the root system, build that bond, that food matrix bond. And when it does that, it becomes 20 times more soluble than the rock was originally. And so when you take a mineral from a plant, you've got 20 times more efficacy than when you just eat that rock by itself, which is typically what mineral supplements are. Anyway, want to throw that in.
So good. Let me just give some maybe practical example on it as well too, is as a former athlete and a coach, one of the things when I was coaching cross country, I always tell my athletes, and this is I think everybody can kind of wrap their mind around this, that somebody that runs 3 miles in 20 minutes, if they're only 3% dehydrated, it can make a 20-second difference in their time. So here's somebody that's doing everything they can to train, working hard, maybe really preparing for their best race, and just being 3% dehydrated can make that big of a difference. So thinking about what that means in all of our days and how we're affected by hydration and being hydrated well. So
okay, and I don't want to keep staying on this question, but
it's a good one.
I want to add to that. The number 1 ranked paddle player in the country, his name is Nico. Craig Smith works very well with him, and Nico has been having his best streak ever of wins since he got on Edge, and he is attributing at least some of that to the Edge. That is the difference. It is what gives him an edge over the competition, hence the name. So it's really cool to hear how that's working, and actually people are utilizing it. It's growing in the paddle community. We just opened up 3 new countries over the last month: Ireland, Portugal, and Spain. And there are paddle players in Spain already talking about this product and utilizing it. And we added it to the shopping cart of those 3. We're working on expanding the product lines as we go into the new countries. But we had to add Edge in there right away just from the demand for it. So it's really a great product.
That's awesome. Well, since we're on Edge, there are a couple additional Edge products. Questions. One of the sound like we're coming out with a new flavor. What? No,
Not-
we're not. Not yet. Not yet.
Don't tease them.
No, I know we won't hear the end of it, huh? Okay, so the question was, besides the caffeine, what would be the difference between Edge and Fuel? Was the biggest thing. I'm trying to find that. So besides the caffeine, what is the difference, and does Fuel also support hydration?
Yeah. So Fuel does help support with hydration. It's a pre to intra-workout drink. It's got branched chain amino acids in there that help protect the muscle. And it's like Edge Light, if you will, because it has lower amounts of the electrolytes. If you're actually perspiring quite a bit and you're working out hard, it's good for you to have Fuel. You could fuel your Edge, but the Edge itself has higher amounts of the potassium and the sodium and the magnesium that are depleted so heavily, and it's also got those extra trace minerals in there. Now, we used L-citrulline to help with increasing adenosine triphosphate in the Edge. We use a more specialized form in Fuel that is called Elevate TP. So there are differences, subtle differences between the two, but Fuel is for somebody whether you're working out in the health club or working out in the garden. That's the catchphrase I like to use with that. Where Edge, the people working out in the garden, unless you're working in Florida or someplace where you're sweating profusely, Edge is great. It's gonna be okay to have that, but Edge is more for that person doing the bike ride, 5-10 miles in the heat, in humidity, playing basketball, playing sports, and they're gonna take 1 to 2 of those in a day. Fuel is good for everyday use. You don't have to be really working out to enjoy Fuel.
That's great. I love what Cheryl said. She said the new flavor is when you add Edge to your Fuel, or vice versa. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, so there is one more Edge question. Is it better to be consumed sipping Edge or drinking in its entirety within a certain shorter amount of time?
Yeah, the actives in there are not something you have to worry about. So typically, Fuel you're going to want to consume a little quicker because of the amino acids that are in there. If there are neurotransmitter precursors or things like that in there, you want to consume them faster and sooner. But Edge is something you can sip on and drink. It's not always good, especially if you're in a state of dehydration, to guzzle something down. It is actually better to take sips and build yourself back up. Try not to get to that point, of course. But yeah, you can consume it over time, over a period of hours. You don't have to worry about that.
And I think one key difference between Edge and most of our other stick packs is the recommendation is for that to be with 16 ounces of water, correct?
Correct.
Sam, anything you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. Okay, so next question. Is there, and switching products, is there an advantage to taking Balance versus a wild yam cream?
Well, I'll start, and then I know Steve's got some input in this. First of all, the wild yam cream has to use transdermal delivery. The biggest issue, whether it's a cream or another supplement, is finding a standardized level of its active ingredient. I mean, it comes from a plant called wild yam. Its name is Diascorea. Its botanical name, and it has a molecule called diacetyl, and that's the active that helps support the body's ongoing demand and production of hormones. And so what we found when we very first started using Diascorea is that you could get a batch that had 2% diacetyl, or you could get a batch that had 12%. And so you couldn't get the same efficacy from one production run to the next. And so what we had to do in those days is we had to buy diacetyl by itself, test the diascorea, and then top it off so that we could get a standardized level. Today, things have just changed a lot. You can get a standardized level. Steve and I found a source that has a 15% standardized level of diacetyl. And so again, whether it's a cream or another supplement, that's really the most important thing, is how much of the active is in it. And is it standardized so that you can get the same response every time? And that's a big difference to me. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, and people look at our Ease formulation, for example. It is a great product. It's transdermal, and it helps get the hemp oil in and other ingredients, but we use dimethyl sulfoxide in there. Again, we're not looking for standardized levels. That's just to help with muscle aches and things like that. Where when you're looking at typically a wild yam cream, a lot of times women are lacking in progesterone, or their estrogen is too high, their progesterone's too low, and they also call it progesterone cream, and they'll put that on and they'll get results. But again, as Sam said, it's hit and miss. We want something that is a standardized level. On top of that, we added specific components that help that to work better in the body. Amino acids that have a synergistic effect to make that work even better. And on top of that, we understand it's got to circulate better. So that's what the Dan Shen or red sage is in there for. These things all work together synergistically along with aloe vera AE, our ace-mannan component. Ace-mannan makes everything work better, even pharmaceuticals. We've seen that over and over again. People have had better results from their pharmaceuticals, even when taking ace-mannan. So having all of these components in there are far superior to just putting on some progesterone or wild yam cream.
Great. Thank you for that answer. Okay, next question. What would you recommend for someone that is struggling with kidney stones?
Go, Steve.
Okay. A lot of times what happens is these fat deposits take these little granules of sand-like particles, and they'll clump up and they become hardened. That happens in our liver, our gallbladder, our kidneys especially. And so you don't want that. You've got to break those up. You've got to work on a lower acidity in your diet. There are different stone crusher products out there in the marketplace, different teas and things that are available. But for me, it's about getting the right diet. We had a lot of questions about oxalates. The oxalates are something that people with these stones need to avoid because they have a tendency to exacerbate the condition or increase the likelihood of that. And so we know that beetroot has oxalates, but when we looked and studies were done on the specific powder that we use for our core and for our immune and for in the OptiPack that we have in there, that does not have a high oxalate count because of the proprietary processing that is used to extract the sugars. It actually also lowers the oxalates. Now, do I think somebody should consume 8 limitless, 10 limitless a day for long periods of time? No, you've got to address that problem. But when it comes to these stones, work on reducing acidity. Our Revive coffee, for example, has ace-mannan in there. We had it tested against one of the major mermaid chains of coffee, and it showed that, and it's not that I sometimes when I'm on the road drink that coffee too, but it's shown to have at least 25% lower acidity than that commercial brand, because the A-spannin helps to lower that acidity. And it's good for that. We need acid in our bodies. God put acid. We are not smarter than God. He put acid in our stomach for a reason. We use that to break down foods. So people worry about lowering acidity that way. No, it's about lowering the acidity of the foods you put into your body. So you have to work on that a little bit and carefully get through that and hydrate.
So would there be a product in particular or products in particular that would be best for that person?
Well, I'm going to say edge because I've got edge on the brain right now. But that's the first one that comes to mind because you're going to want to hydrate properly with that. And again, immune, A-spannin, core, getting the body that level of homeostasis to better deal with all of these things.
Yeah, I think, and it's interesting. I was talking to some of our nurse practitioners in Branson, and out of the gate, their first recommendation is core. Stabilize the gut, heal the gut, and everything in the body responds. Because that's where, that's the root of all evil in human physiology is a leaky gut. And so a leaky gut does two really bad things. It inhibits the absorption of vitamins and minerals and accelerates the absorption of toxins and pathogens into the bloodstream. So heal the gut and then give your body a chance at quality of life and homeostasis.
That's great. You got a couple different people echoing the yes chorus first. Okay, so shifting gears again. Question here is that there's different qualities of stevia is the question. Is there different qualities of stevia? And is it the lesser quality ones that people tend to be allergic to?
You want me to take it, Sam?
No, yeah, you can take that. I don't know anything about stevia.
Okay.
I know taste
except to complain to me on the taste if I use too much.
Yeah, that's right.
So as far as whole leaf stevia, that's where people have the problems. The purified extracts, Reb A, Reb M, which we use in our products, do not have that bad aftertaste on the tongue, on the back of the tongue, that lingering chemically weird taste, even though it's not a chemical. But there are impurities that can happen in whole leaf stevia that are there. It's all natural, and the processing does not necessarily take all those things out. Are they harmful to people that are allergic? Absolutely. To people that don't like the taste, and to our bottom line when we're trying to sell products with whole leaf? Absolutely. But when it comes to the stevia, we're very selective as far as using those purified extracts, Reb A and Reb M.
Great.
Good answer.
Thank you. Very good, Steve.
I was worried that I might be rusty after being gone all this time, but I seem to have retained most of my knowledge, so it's okay.
Yeah, and for you guys that are listening, Steve really is our formulator when it comes to putting things together, especially like for taste. And so a lot of his expertise is in that area. That's not my expertise. So Steve, take it away.
But for those of you that are new, our CEO, I've been around the nutritional industry my entire life, and our CEO knows far more about nutrition and ingredients than any other CEO I've ever met. So there we go.
It's a mutual admiration society. Okay.
And the best of the best. That's what we get.
That's right.
Okay. So heading back to Edge for a little bit, what is your input on giving a sprinkle of the Edge in 3 different drinks during the day, not using the whole entire packet? So spreading it out throughout the day.
You're still getting the ingredients. I am not your mother. Feel free to play with your food. As long as you put it into your body, we're good.
Great. Okay. Oh, wait, let me see if there was one more edge one so we can keep it all the same. Oh, is it okay to mix edge and fix together? And this
No,
person said it tastes really good.
no, absolutely not. I'm kidding. I just said play with your food. If it's about getting the stuff into you, no, it works. It's fine. You can mix edge with fuel. You can mix edge with fix. You can mix edge with focus. I'm not sure it would taste good mixed with revive,
Oh,
but if you want to try it, feel free.
I guarantee you, I know exactly who is going to, and her name is CrossFit Granny. So she will be the first one to try it. Okay, so there actually is two more edge questions. Do we need to add magnesium to our daily routine, or is there enough magnesium in edge for the daily requirements?
Oh, there's enough in there for the daily requirement.
Yeah.
And then is mixing edge with you kind of answered this before, but just this question might have got asked before that. Is mixing edge with 6 to 7 ounces of water okay to drink all at once?
It's not harmful. So when I was on this trip, I actually ate an edge like a pixie stick. And it was okay. It's a little, it's on the saltier side because that's what it's made to be. But you could do that in smaller amounts of water. However, you're defeating the purpose a little bit. You want to add more water to your body. So if you're going to do that to get it down, but then you're sipping on a bigger thing of water over the next several hours, yes, then you're okay doing that. But I worry about people not pushing enough water if they only are trying to get the product into their body.
Good. Okay, and then if you're giving samples of edge out, say 3 ounces at an event, so this is, sampling at an event, would you mix that with the 16 ounces recommended or a little less water?
With the 16 ounces recommended.
I would agree.
So my goal is to work our product line all the way to that. It ends up being 500 milliliter size because we are a global company, right? And so I think it's 16.9 ounces, something like that. That's what those little plastic water bottles are. That's what they are here. That's what they are in Europe. And it's about getting it to that. I mean, we have our great Alovea shaker cups, and we have the Edge clear bottles and everything that's available. We have great merch that is available for people to use. But there are a lot of people out there that they're going to just tear open a steak, pour it in a water bottle. Some of our products were formulated for 12 ounces back in the day because that's what a lot of our competitors were doing. But as we've looked at that, flavoring is the most expensive component in the drink mixes, believe it or not. And we looked at what is out there, what's going to make this more convenient, what's going to make it easier to get it into people's bodies. And we found that 500 milliliter size is good. Edge is really the first product. Fix was already there, but because it is pretty strong in itself, the strong flavor had to be there to cover up some of that ashwagandha taste and some of the other ingredients. But as far as Edge goes, we formulated that for 16 ounces, and we'll start working that for other. I think pink lemonade's already there, as well as the caffeine-free orange. But we're going to continue to work on having a little bit stronger flavors so that it flavors that 16.9 ounces.
That's great. And obviously people can always add more water if they don't want it as strong, but we love that ability to turn the volume of flavor up and down. So it's good.
Yeah, the Europeans said to me, why are these products so sweet? And I said, because I'm an American and I formulated them for Americans. And now I've got to take everything that you taste into consideration. So, and it's true, the baked goods, everything over there, it's a lot less sweet than we use here. So I'm working through all that. Sam and I will work through that, and we'll get it taken care of.
That's good. Okay, so edge is the topic of the night and everybody obviously loves it. So here is another question. Is there any negative effect on efficacy of mixing any of the drinks several hours ahead? And you talked about this a little bit, of use, i.e. preparing a water bottle with the drink the night before. Is it better to put in the refrigerator of mixing the night before? This person said, I noticed that the edge changes from cloudy to clear if it sets and goes into solution.
Yeah, the focus is the one you want to drink quickly. You want to mix the focus products and drink them quickly. It's kind of the same thing with Revive. You make your hot coffee in the morning. You do not want to let that sit for 2 or 3 hours because it reduces the efficacy of the neurotransmitter precursors that are in there, the L-theanine, L-tyrosine. Sam, anything you want to add?
Nope.
And I would actually add too, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Focus in particular, or Revive as well, but Focus in particular, I would say, is making sure that people aren't sipping it like they would an Edge. Otherwise, they're going to say, I don't know if I really felt anything. So getting it in your body more quickly is going to help with how somebody feels the results as well too.
Good.
Okay, I was going to say, does anybody want to add anything to that? Okay, so another question here. Getting a lot of them tonight. Good job, you guys. A customer said she cannot take anything lemon or lime because of kidneys. I've explained that it is organic and not synthetic, but what else could I educate her with?
She's saying because of the, what do you think, Steve, the acidity? Is that what she's worried about?
Whenever somebody says to me, I can't take this or that, unless it is aloe, I say, oh, well, then that product's not for you.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
We have other flavors.
Yeah, that's good. And then, and also, sometimes you've had people just take a little bit to try it of different things that they might have concerns about as well too. But yes, flavor-wise, we have other options too.
Well, and I think what Sam was getting at is if it's acidity or citric acid, well, we've got citric acid and or malic acid that we've added to a lot of the lines. People want a certain tartness. They expect a certain tartness. That's what people are used to. So if it's that, why lemon or lime specifically? That's what I want to know. You could have the orange. That's another citrus fruit. What's going on there? What is particular to those two fruits that you have a problem with? That's the question is too broad, too vague, to be honest with you.
Yeah, good. So on the maybe allergic question direction, has anyone ever had an allergic reaction to Ace Mannin if they are allergic to aloe vera?
Well, typically, no. When you say allergic to aloe vera, now you're talking most of the time about a whole leaf process. And so when you get whole leaf aloe, there are components that are not in our Ace Mannin, like anthraquinones. And they used to leave them in there because they're powerful laxatives. And so people drink the juice and they want to feel something happening, So there's one major aloe vera company that does that specifically for that reason. But that's also a toxic substance. And so if every once in a while I get confronted with, well, somebody researched aloe and said there's a chemical in there that is toxic. Well, that's the anthraquinone that surrounds the sap, but that's not in our Ace Mannin. That's taken out. So can anybody be allergic to a mannose polysaccharide? I suppose somebody, if you say the whole world's population, could anybody? You couldn't say definitively no, but I've never seen an allergic reaction to Ace Mannin. I've never seen a negative reaction when used in an integrative support with pharmaceutical drugs. So, I've been dealing with leishmanian since 1994, and it's just unheard of.
Great. Okay, so before we shift gears, the person that asked the question about the lemon and lime said it is acidity is the issue, and then also there is a concern with the citric acid as well too. So is there a
Yeah. So don't take it.
Yeah, you're going to have to avoid almost all of our drinks, except Revive.
which is a great option. Okay,
Thanks.
so shifting gears, there was a couple questions that came through on this. We introduced a test trial of a product that a lot of people are now very excited about. That does, the goal is to help to support healthy metabolism and to bring repair to that. So gentlemen, do you want to tackle that a little bit? And the different questions, I'll give you one of the specific questions was about, let me find it again, sorry about that. One of the questions was very specifically about if the body has stored toxins in it, in the body fat, will the salmon peptide allow for the disposal of those toxins before shedding fat?
Yeah, so if I may, Sam.
Yeah, go ahead.
It will start to release those, much like when somebody goes into a ketogenic state, the fat starts to change its structure, and fat isn't just there, or adipose tissue is not there just to store excess calories for future energy. It also takes toxins out of the blood. So when that liquidates, you will release some toxins into the blood. People talk about keto flu that they have. It's not really a disease. It's that feeling of malaise and lethargy that happens when you go through that. But the fact is, our macrophage, and we have different cells in the body that actually are their immune cells that help take that out. They clean the waste out of the body. And so that gets taken out naturally. It's something that gets processed out. I do want to say something about this new product. We are in a test group, and there were some concerns with how did we choose these people. There is a specific protocol that you use when testing. You start with healthy individuals. So many people were interviewed for being test subjects, and they did not know I was interviewing. I was having different conversations with them. People told me I have specific digestive issues. I have intestinal scarring. I had this operation. All of these different reasons excluded people from that first round. We chose healthy people, different ethnicities. There were no special favors. It was nothing about somebody's rank. One of our leaders, Dave Osborne, who's pretty close to Sam and I, we've known him almost 30 years. He still is harassing me about the fact that he wasn't chosen. He has 30 pounds to lose. That didn't count for that. You know, there were specific things we were looking for, and it wasn't based on rank or leadership. We have somebody who is thin on here. However, this individual, their fat to muscle ratio is not correct. They are what is known as skinny fat. And, you know, I have a lot of women that would look at me sideways saying that. But it is a real thing. When they're out of that homeostasis, using the favorite Reg McDaniel word tonight, they are messed up. Their metabolism needs to shift. Guess what? We need to know how it works with that person too. We have people of Asian descent, Black, Hispanic, and Caucasian. We have different age brackets testing this product. And these people were all chosen because they were healthy individuals. They had not gone through major surgeries. There were no people that had digestive issues. We had to get this first group done. And then there's going to be another group. And those people have already been chosen, but they may have some of those issues. Then the marketing team said, hey, when we were talking about people chosen, and Dave was on that particular call, and I said, look, Dave, if I was in a room with 100 people that are utilizing our products right now, and I said, hey, we're going to have this trial for this new product, how many of you would like to be on it? 100 hands, maybe 200 would have gone up if I asked that question. And so we only are able to get a specific amount from our supplier for the test phase. We will not be able to commercially purchase this product until sometime in January. Nobody was excluded because of favoritism or anything like that. We are carefully choosing the test subjects so that we get a really, really good view as to how this is going to work. And the marketing team said, well, having heard you say that, Steve, about the 100 hands, 200 hands going up, what if we gave people a chance to try the product before it was available and made that an incentive? So the company is doing that as an incentive. But the word test is not really applicable to that third group. They are getting first chance to try the product. That's what they're really looking at. It is not about using, how could you have people that win being test subjects? And I understand that some people were confused by that. Sam and I heard from a couple different people after the event, wait a minute, is this a legitimate test? You guys are a science company. We are very serious about the science at this company. Sam is insistent that we start with science and benefit. So we are utilizing what we know how to do and testing with these first group, second group. The third group is going to be people that want it. It's just a fun thing. But understand, this is a very serious thing that we're doing, and we take it very seriously. I'm off my soapbox now. I just wanted to get that out there for to clear up any confusion as to what this test group was, why we chose who we chose. Again, very carefully, very thoughtfully, and sometimes prayerfully chose those people.
Well, and I want to add a couple things to that as well too, that hopefully for anybody that is frustrated that they didn't get selected, how encouraging it is that so many people, I mean, if you think about how many people are like, why not me? Why not me? I want it. I mean, just think of, one, we're doing the due diligence to make sure that this is a product that can bear the name of Alivea with the integrity that we have, but also it shows the high demand that it will have in the marketplace when we put it to the test as well too. So I would be encouraged, even if you're currently discouraged that you're not getting to start on it, that there's going to be a big demand in the marketplace. And we're going to make sure not only that the product's ready for that, but the assets are ready for that as well too, to help you get better results and also to help you to share it with other people as well too. So I think it's
Yeah, I want to say something about the product itself. It is a peptide, and there's a mixed bag out there in the marketplace on peptides. Some people say, oh, wait a minute, the FDA is going to really start regulating. Peptides are short chains of amino acids. That's what a peptide is. And you can let your body make a peptide, which it will do. That's that DNA to RNA. That step of RNA goes into the ribosome, and it collects amino acids and builds a specific chain that's linear, one on top of the other, to make a specific peptide. Or you can engineer peptides outside of the body to do a specific thing. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a nutritional peptide that has not been pre-engineered. But the peptide, the amino acid chain that's in the salmon, it does a lot of things. And so when we looked at all the science surrounding it, I mean, obviously one of the things you're looking at is what does it do for metabolism? Because metabolism is required for energy production. It's required for efficient fat burning, lack of fat storage. It's required for good sleep, good thinking. And so there's a lot of things, and that's really what you're looking for is what is the total impact. Now, one of the things that, because it was just very popular, is it is an agonist to GLP-1 hormone. And of course, we all have heard the GLP phenomena and all that kind of stuff. But it's a natural peptide. It's just like ace-mannan is an agonist to macrophages. It binds to the surface of the macrophage through a mannose receptor side. An agonist just means activate. It's not antagonist, it's agonist, which is you're just activating. And so this peptide has the ability to influence hormones. That's a good thing. And anyway, when you say peptide, I got the question in Branson, I'm not sure peptides are the direction we want to go. And I went, well, wait a minute, your body makes peptides. Your cells are peptide producing machines. I mean, that's really what your cells do. They make peptides, they then have sugars attached, mannose, the primary sugar, and then the other sugars, which gives that peptide its specificity in terms of its biochemical use in the body. And so, I just want to say that it is a peptide, but one of the things that was, I wasn't necessarily looking for a weight loss product. I really wanted a metabolic product. And all the data that this provider, these guys, by the way, are the same people that provide us with our salmon oil that we do in our omegas. I mean, they're just incredible science group of people. And they did a whole litany of research on what this particular peptide they're extracting is doing. And so one of the benefits is that it helps the efficiency of fat metabolism. That's a good thing. But I wouldn't call it a weight loss product. I'd call it a metabolic reset product or facilitation product. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and by the way, one of the requirements is we had a leader that had been doing a diet program and he lost quite a bit of weight on that. So he took himself out of the category, out of the running to be a test subject. And then we did have multiple people who have used GLP-1 products and told me they had in the last year. So we had to disqualify those people as well. This is a very pure, very clean group of people that we've got as far as getting the proper data. So I just want to reassure you of all that. I don't want anybody feeling offended or that we skipped over you or left you out on purpose.
That's good. Well, and everybody will be really grateful for all the work and effort that's being put in now to make sure that we have the results in science to back it later. So thank you, gentlemen, for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as we wrap tonight, any last things that either one of you want to share real quickly before we hop up off the Zoom tonight?
No, is that it? No, there's no more questions? What?
Well, we're 3 minutes from ending, and
Yeah.
so no, I think the edge questions were the predominant questions tonight. I can't wait for all the mixes that people will start. Somebody actually did say in the chat, it was Marcine, she said her husband actually really likes Edge and Revive together.
Well, Arnie's a little off. What do you want me to say?
I think I like Edge because it puts us in a category of distribution that we've never been in before, and that's sort of the professional sports arena. Whether they're paddle clubs or tennis clubs or whatever, pickleball clubs, as a point of sale product. Because everybody knows what a hydration drink is, and we have that distinction to have something just a little different. And I know that Craig and Ann Smith have been working diligently on creating that environment where we can go to clubs of that or workout facilities and make Edge available with point of sale. It's like a box that sits on a counter. Really, really professional looking. So I'm excited about that because, again, that's an arena we've never, ever participated in. and I think I might have said this on the call, but our manufacturer that is actually making it came from the sports nutrition industry. And he looked at the story and looked at the ingredients and he goes, can I do this even though I'm your manufacturer? And so I had like a 2-hour conversation with him and his assistant. And they're not only going to manufacture the product for us, they're going to go out and sell the product for us because they just have that inroad into that marketplace. But they just love the technology. They love the taste. They love the story. They love the science. And he said, you know, I've been in the sports nutrition business and hydration business for dozens of years. I haven't seen anything. He said, the only thing that's come along it's splashy is some hydration company came out with icy flavors, you know, 7-Eleven icy. He said, that's the only unique thing I've seen. And it wasn't science-based, it's just marketing. But he said, this really is cool. Love what you guys are doing, and I want to participate.
And Christy, we're gonna end with the question from Lisa Seaman. She asked about does this mean unhealthy people or people with challenges will not be able to take the metabolic reset product? Not at all. We just didn't want the data skewed. We wanted to know healthy individuals. The next group all have some type of challenge, and that's all I'm going to say. But that's what we're looking at. We're trying to get down that road. Listen, as somebody wrote, January will come soon enough. By that first of February, and we hope to release it in that first week of February. That's the goal. But as Sam said from stage, if the product doesn't work the way we want it to work, if it is not, although we've already seen some really cool things, but if it's not what we want it to be for this company and it's not a right fit, we won't sell a product just to sell a product. It's got to make an impact in people's lives. It's got to address specific health needs. It's got to fill in a gap. That's what we do here at Alivea. And as the person in charge of product development and formulations, I'm going to tell you, we won't just release a product because it's the new hip thing. It's got to actually benefit the people consuming, because having passionate consumers is the only way we make inroads into the lives of these children. It's the only way that we make the world a better place. We're not just selling products, we're selling hope. We're giving people what their bodies are lacking from a traditional diet. And so if the product doesn't meet and check all those boxes, we're not going to release it. Sam said so. But I will tell you this, the way it's been looking for these first 3-4 weeks, I think we have something really special. So now I'll leave it at that.
Well, and I love what Carrie Skinner said. She said that we have a chance to help people get healthy now before the metabolic product gets here. And so what a powerful response there as well too. We have so many incredible products that can help people get healthy and obviously address some of their biggest concerns as we get ready for a new and exciting product that will be here at just the right time, as everything else in Alivea shows up at just the right time. Sam, anything to wrap as we close?
No, I just wrapped. I thought we were done.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Well, thank you guys so much. Everybody's so thankful in the chat as well too. Make sure you save these Monday nights. It's always worth your time scheduling this out. Steve will be on next Monday for a deep dive, and then we'll be back for Q&A in the 4th Monday of the month. So thank you guys so much. Have a good night, everybody, and God bless.
See you.